And hello to all friends, potatoes are with you. And this is the first part of the Botany Fashion Guide for version 1.16.5. But before you start watching, be sure to subscribe to me and click on the bell so as not to miss new videos. This mod is magical, and natural magic is added here. The magic of plants. Here you can create mana with the help of ordinary flowers, collected in all sorts of pools, make creating flowers. Craft various weapons, armor, tools, and much more. As it was already clear from this mod is suitable for almost any magic build. Well, let's start with generation. Only various plants are added to our world. That is, walking around the world, you will not be able to find any structures there, any other mines and even worlds. You will be able to find only such different flowers. In total, they have as many as 16 colors, accordingly as in Minecraft. That is, white, orange, blue, red, there, blue, some other purple and so on. And I'll tell you right away that they will need to be collected from the very beginning of the game, because you will need them in almost all crafts in this mod. And by the way, you can see their elaboration. First of all, they have such particles, and from each flower, the corresponding particles of their colors come out. And also, their textures are different for each flower. That is, let's say white, there are such bells here. Orange is generally some kind of incomprehensible bush. Here we have a blue one here. It's generally some kind of circle that's so interesting. Let's say a brown tulip is pink. Well, in general, such flowers. And you can also find a large variation of them in the world, but if you break them with an ordinary hand, then you will not succeed. They will need to be broken only with scissors or something similar. And then, by the way, out of them, when you redraw it, you will get twice as many objects, namely petal ones. But we'll talk about this a little later. And in the mines, you can find 16 types of such mushrooms. And when you break them, you can already use them instead of petals. In other words, they are the least profitable for us, but still, they can also be used in crafting. And again, as with colors, there are a variety of variations of them here. That is, let's say white again. We have purple, so we have an interesting mushroom. It's generally some kind of fly agaric green, and so on. But now let's get to the basics of this mod. First of all, I advise you to make such a book, a lexicon of botany. It is made from any seedling and also a book. We're taking it. By the way, I have such a golden book. It is more elaborated, but here, as you can see, the textures are broken. Therefore, I would rather use a golden, beautiful book like this. You can get it a little later as you develop. Well, when you open this book, almost all sections here will be blocked, with the exception of probably this very first basics and mechanics. And in it too, not all studies will be unlocked here, but as they develop, they will naturally be unlocked. But in our guide, I did everything consistently, so there will be no problems. In general, as you can understand, in this book, we describe absolutely all subjects. Not always in Russian. There are also all sorts of English writings and also the title. And for this, I just went to the guide, so that there would be no problems. But let's take a short walk here. We have the basics of mana management mechanics. This way, we will be able to move mana and do various interactions with it oddly enough. Then the generating flora is the mana creating flowers. There is also a functioning flora. These are flowers that will feed on mana and do something. Then there are natural devices. These are various, as you can understand, devices that will function quite cool. Mystical objects are all kinds of wands, all kinds of tools and the like. Then trinkets and accessories. We have various rings that will also function, as well as all sorts of cloaks and the like. Artifacts of the Ender world, oddly enough, these are artifacts related to the Ender world that you can get there. They also have their own properties. Then there is Elfomania. Here you can discover various studies of elves. There is a different section and also tests. It's just essentially creating farms based on this mod. But now let's sort everything out in order. First of all, we will need to sort out our colors, because as I said, this is absolutely the basis of this mod. You will need a huge amount of them. There is such a flower fertilizer. With the help of it, you can grow flowers. It is made from 4 dyes and also bone meal. We take it and let's see what it does. It's just that such PCM on the grass, and we grow flowers. Now, 3 pieces have grown. Here we also have 3 pieces grown, an absolutely random color. That is, in this way you will be able to craft this thing, and let's say, get the missing flower for yourself in this way. Then, there is such a flower bag. This is a very useful thing for storing flowers. It is made of 5 wool, and also any petal or mushroom. Like I said, it's the same thing. Speaking of petals, from ordinary flowers, you get 2 petals. From such double ones you get 4. Let's take it and see how it works. Let's say we have a mystical black flower, then some green, blue, and let's say purple. We open the bag, and now we can just put these flowers in it. Here we can fit up to a stack in my opinion. And also, 16 of their varieties. There is also such a useful device, a pestle and mortar. It is made from a bowl, a board, and also a stick. With it, we will be able to grind the petals. Let's say I take a white one now, and now, we combine all this workbenches and get a white dye. Well, in principle, these are all its properties. Well, another thing worth mentioning is that you can make blocks out of petals. Let's say here's orange, here I'm showing you purple and also red. They are made from 9 pieces of petals and look like this. It's pretty beautiful, and they don't have any function. Then we move on to the first main device. This is a petal apothecary. It is made of 4 cobblestones, 2 slabs of cobblestone, and also any petal. We take it, for its work, we will need a bucket of water, and also in it, we will be able to create different flowers already. Let's see which ones again. Let's say the generating flora, and that's all we have that is shown here. We can do our petal apothecary. Here you can see. But now, we are going to make the very first flower, the simplest one. By the way, we even have it in the basics and mechanics. Here it is a pure daisy, and to create it, we will need only 4 white petals. Let's put our petal pharmacy, and it looks like this. Quite a beautiful little pedestal, and there is a jug on top, or a bowl, whatever you want to call it. In general, we pour 1 bucket of water into it. That will be enough. And then we throw our white petals there. 1, 2. You can see we also have such a small interface. Well, that is, to show how many petals there are. And also you can see that they are floating a little bit. Then, we throw 3, and finally, 4. Nothing falls out. See, it is shown to us, plus a seed. We're throwing a wheat seed here now, and that's it. The water was gone, all the petals were gone too, and we got a clean daisy like this. We can pour water here again, and make some other flower, let's say. But for now, let's move on to this flower. This flower will allow us to process stone and also wood. Absolutely any tree. Let's put this flower, and look, it has a radius of work. By the way, he does not feed on mana in any way. That is, he is absolutely infinite. And the zone of his work is the next radius of 1 block. That is, here, 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 here. By the way, it will not work from above. We could see now that all sorts of particles are appearing. It means that he is beginning to process this flower. But let's now put 4 more boards, for example, and here are 4 stones. More precisely, 4 woods. And let's see what happens after a while. And now you can see that our blocks are beginning to transform. A tree turns into a tree's life, and a stone turns into a stone's life. And these are the most basic resources that will be needed for development in this fashion. You mine them, put them here again. Let's say a tree and a stone in any order, and again this daisy will make these blocks for you. And so on endlessly. Let's take another look at their textures. This is the life of a tree, and this is the life of a stone. Quite beautiful, as if marble by the way. And from them, you will be able to make the most basic devices for yourself. First of all, it is the staff of the forest. It is made of 3 branches of the tree's life, and also 2 petals. A tree life branch is made of 2 tree lives. It has 2 modes, it is functional, and also binding mode. The binding mode is designed to bind, say, a mana distributor to a mana pool, in order to transfer mana from the distributor to the mana pool. That's how I'll give it. And a functioning one is allowed in order to activate something. Well, in general, this is probably all of its properties. Then, you can make a mana pool, or a diluted mana pool. They differ in that a diluted pool of mana will contain as much as 100 times less than a normal pool of mana. But, I advise you to do the usual pool of mana right away, because they have almost the same crafting. Let's take a look at it now. Usually a pool is made of 5 stone lives, and a diluted one is made of a half block in a stone life. As you can understand, it is much more profitable to make a regular pool of mana. Let's take it and just see what it looks like. It looks like this, as if carved by some kind of life stone. And in principle, we can't do anything with him right now, but I'm going to leave him here to conduct various experiments with him in the future. And finally, the last main devices are the mana distributor, and also the red mana distributor. They differ in that the mana distributor will work just like that, always, but red from the signal of the red stone. We probably won't even consider it, because it works the same way as a regular mana distributor. By the way, it is made of 6 lives by a tree, a gold ingot, and also any petal. Let's take an ordinary mana distributor, and put it somewhere here, let's say. And now, if mana flows into it, by the way, we can also take the staff of the forest, look at it, and see how much mana there is in it. Now you can see that the scale is not filled. It means that there is no mana in it. And it is also written at the bottom that we have it tied to the mana pool. By the way, let's see how to bind for now. We press the shift from the PCM in the binding mode. Here, we have once, you can see the allocation, and also the shift of the PCM by the mana pool. So this spreader is slightly tilted, as you can see, and is more accurately directed at this pool of mana. And thus it will be possible to transfer the mana here literally through the air with such shots. By the way, we will see this a little later. By the way, who hasn't figured it out yet, the mana pool is a storage for mana. By the way, it is also very important that distributors also have their own range. We take the staff of the forest with you, and see such visualizations of how mana will fly. At the end, you can see such a point, and after this point, this ray narrows very, very much, and eventually even disappears. This means that after this point, mana will simply dissipate very much, and there will be just incredible losses. And in the end, it will just disappear into the air. In the future, we will be able to adjust this a little bit, put different lenses, but we will talk about this a little later. The main thing now you know is that here's how many blocks we have here, probably 15 or so, maybe 12, and after that, we will just have mana dissipating. Then, we finally move on to creating our first mana. I'll tell you later what we're going to create it for. Now the main thing is to learn how to create it. First of all, we have a flower called water hydrangea. We make it from 2 blue petals, 2 turquoise petals, and as a catalyst, we eventually throw wheat seeds. Let me take it all now. Also, by the way, I take a bucket of water and half blocks to show how to install this hydrangea water. But for now, let's throw 2 blue and 2 turquoise petals, and finally throw wheat seeds as a catalyst. As a result, we get water hydrangea. In general, any flowers that create, we will put about a distributor in a small radius of 7. Next, we take a look at our binding staff, the staff of the forest, more precisely, on the binding, and click Shift plus PC about hydrangeas and Shift plus PCM on the distributor. So we have all this connected, and when we hover over this flower, you can see a tick near the distributors. It means that everything is tied. And by the way, hydrangea water also has its own small buffer for mana. And what should be done so that it generates mana? In general, it will generate simply from water. Look, let's put water here. She's supposed to disappear from us now, in theory. Come on. By the way, in order to check how many mans we have hydrangea water, you just need to poke the PCM on it, and I more precisely need to put it a little differently. Let's move the water here like this. Now we poke the PC with our staff of the hydrangea forest, and it creates a small amount of mana for us. You can see that the water has already disappeared, the mana here has already gone here, and here, we also have a very small amount of mana, but it is very unprofitable to poke a bucket of water here every time. And what should be done so that there is endless water here? To do this, let's do the following. Here's how we'll put a half block here. As a result, here we get a 3x3 tank for water. We fill in everything here. And first of all, we have a hydrangea water that will be fed endlessly from this source. So the company PCM. Here, we have something being created. Here we also have a small amount of mana. Now, we will see a little bit how it will all be transmitted. But for now, let's put even more hydrangea water here. We'll put it here, and also tie it up. Then, here, it is already linked, and here it is also automatically linked. Now we look at the poke on the mana distributor to update its buffer. And now it will already shoot mana. Well, look here. A shot of mana, and it goes straight into our pool. The pool fills up just a little bit. It's incredibly huge, but still this method is quite effective, even in the later stages. If you have a special seed of growth, so that in the end, these flowers are not sluggish because they will simply disappear over time, and you will need to create new ones every time. But with the help of the seed of overgrowth, which we will consider a little later, all this can be prevented. Then, another very cool way to create mana is end of flame. It used to be called somehow the flame of the end or the flame of the edge. Yes, in my opinion the flame of the edge was called, but now for some reason they have changed the name, but the functionality remained the same. And look, to create it, we will need 1 red petal, 2 brown, and also 1 light gray petal. We take it all, just like a catalyst. We naturally take wheat seeds and coal to power this flower. So we throw here 1 red, 2 brown, and a light gray. As a result, the catalyst, we get an endo flame, and put it, let's say, somewhere there. We have already attached him right away, and now we throw 1 coal here, and we will already have him creating a pretty good amount of mana. Look at the coal he ate. Here we have effects, and mana also went to be created, and very well. You can make more of these flowers. Throw it over the coals like this. By the way, we can also make such an automatic plant for feeding coals with the help of a pressure plate. And also let's assume a distributor, so that the coal is always thrown. And now you can see that even such an endless stream of mana has formed, which goes on and on into our storage. Next, let's look at such a very steep growth process. You can't craft it in any way, but you can find it in various dungeons. He has this very interesting animation. Here you could see that it was big with us. Now it has become small again. Now it will grow again, so to speak. And yes, the process has begun. In short, you will never craft it in any way. You can only find it in the dungeons. I'll take it. And also here's the hydrangea water, but we already have it, so okay. And we just put it on this grass, which is under the hydrangea water. It changes in texture. It becomes so very beautiful. And so we have passive flowers. This is our passive flower. They will never wither, but the active ones will work twice as fast. But in this case, as I said, we have passive flowers because they passively generate mana from water. Let's put all of them here, and now, it will be considered that there is an infinite source of mana because they will never wither. We will also never run out of water here, and therefore, it is an absolutely infinite source of mana, and a pretty good one at that. If you put a lot of colors like this, a lot of such blocks, then a decent source of mana will really come out. By the way, also about the Danga drops. You will be able to find such a black lotus. It emits strong magical vibrations. We can throw it into the pool, and look, it transfers the mana that it contained into the pool, and a pretty good amount. You can see even a little bit of our stripe has started to fill up. Now let's look at where we can apply our mana. First of all, you will be able to create some items for subsequent crafting from them. You can remake with iron, ender pearls, diamonds, gunpowder, ristune light dust. Let's say you get the same thing. Nazar quart, glass, thread, even potatoes, cookies, bottle, piston, iron block, diamond block, grass, dead bush, and also a red mushroom. Let's take a quick look at what we get in the end. And by the way, how to do it all. We just approach our mana pool and throw here, let's say 1 iron ingot. So we threw it, we got a monostal ingot. We throw pearls here, we get mana pearls, we get a diamond man diamond. Gunpowder is either a rat or a light stone, we get mono gunpowder. Nazar quartz, we get mono quartz. Glass, mono glass. Thread, we get a mono thread, oddly enough. Potatoes, there will be no mana potatoes. By the way, what we don't have is being redone, and we don't have enough mana in the process. So let's take this eternally filled creative pool and throw potatoes into it already. And so we get mini potatoes. This is probably the best thing about this fashion. Here he is, look how handsome, just like me. Yes, you will agree. And there is also such an Easter egg here. You can take another mini potato and put it on this potato. This way, you will even get an achievement, and there will be another mini potato on top. So well, then it's not so interesting. We get mana cookies, a bottle, we get mana in a bottle. Piston, we get such a power relay, which we will consider a little later. Iron, we get a block of iron mana. Diamonds we throw, we get a block of mana diamonds. By the way, let's say we have come to craft much cheaper than diamonds, so it's worth considering. You just might not have enough mana. Pre-penultimate, we throw grass, we get a meadow seed, we get a dead bush, and a taiga seed, and finally, we throw a red mushroom. We get a mushroom seed like this. Let's look at another device that will allow you to store mana, but already portable in your inventory. It will be a mana tablet. He makes a stone out of 8 lives, and also, either the mana of pearls, or the mana of diamonds. We're taking it. Also, we will need some kind of puzzlement, and let's take a better thing filled with another one. I'll put it here, and see how to charge it. We just throw it here. Then nothing will happen. It won't charge in any way. It will be necessary to switch the mode here. We are doing a functional mode with you on our post shift with PCM. You can see that the arrow has changed, so our pool will give the tablet to a mana. Now we throw a mana tablet here, and we will have it a little bit so charged. Well, let's pick it up. And now you can see there a little bit he went charging. What is it for? First of all, for transporting mana, and also let's say you will have such staffs that will work for mana. And where to get mana? Naturally, it will be necessary to somehow transfer it in the inventory. Just the same with the help of this method. By the way, when you have it in your inventory, you can see such a stripe appears from the bottom above the move bar. This is just the same stripe, shows how much mana we have in our inventory at all. Well, in principle, this is all its functionality. To let's say, we transfer mana from our tablet to the pool, we make an arrow to the right, so that she looks at the pool, and throw the tablet here. Thus, mana simply flows into the pool, and you can see that it is growing very rapidly there. And let's also consider such a rather useful flower. This is the mana star. It is made from one mystical blue petal, turquoise, red, and also green. Again, we just throw all these petals, for things in this case, and finally, a catalyst. These are ordinary seeds. Then we got this mana star, and put it near, let's say, this pool here. And now look, these blue particles are coming out of it. This means that mana enters our pool, and if red particles come out here. Let's simulate it now. So I'll take a tablet, let's say, I'll make a different mode here so that it gives mana. And now we are looking. Red particles will come out here. This means that the pool gives mana. By the way, this thing never gives out any roadstone signal. That is, it cannot be used in any way in the mechanisms. Well, there was a potato with you. Be sure to subscribe, like, write comments, and also click on the bell so as not to miss new videos.